that's a dead end.
So we cheated.
I guess you squeeze in through there. No, I guess not.
Yeah. Honey. Nope, I was wrong. You were right.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I guess you could cut through there.
Oh, we got stuck. Yeah. Oh.
You okay?
Yeah, I just got caught by a stick.
They ain't got it.
One of the first questions raised was, well, gentlemen, what exactly is it that a government is supposed to do? What are its purposes, its functions, its aims? How do you like that? And after rather vigorous conversation, to keep the peace, to protect property, and to secure individual rights. It is not the business of government to educate the children of Virginia. Just as you taxpayers have nothing to do with bringing my children into this world, you shouldn't be responsible for their education as well. That duty falls to the parents or to neighbors who might be benevolent enough to see to the education of those who are not able to afford those costs themselves. The case of my father, for example. He told me how he managed to live at our home.
Ah, I did it. Ah. Now we just cut to the middle to get back.
For the most part, Robert Carter Nicholas. African schools for Indians, colleges in the Marys, privately financed, not financed by the taxpayers throughout our country. This must continue. Furthermore, I submit to you that we have already in place a most excellent foundation for teaching our children to read and to write, though I'm concerned about its future. This brings me to discuss Bill number 82, the so-called Statute for Religious Freedom. We are, comparatively speaking, a very literate society. It is believed that more than half of all our people here in Virginia, including many Negroes, are able to read and to write. This was confirmed to me by Philip Matsay, one of the Tuscans who was assisting us in raising monies from allies in this current war for independence. He remarked that compared to the Italies, we are remarkably literate, and he suggested it's because all households, almost all households in Virginia, have one book, perhaps the only book. It is the Holy Writ, the Bible, and that there is at least one person in that family who's capable of reading it aloud to others and teaching those who are not yet able to read how to do so. We have always known an established church here in Virginia, the Church of England. And this is how many have become educated as to reading and to writing. For those of you who may be travelers to our country and unfamiliar with this established or state church, what it has meant, until just recently, is that our laws required all Virginians to attend divine services at least 1 week in 4. If they did not attend church monthly, they would be fined. If they did not pay that fine, they might be jailed. That might explain to you why, for the past 30 years, our jails throughout Virginia have been filled with Baptists. Part of the reason for having this required regular attendance was not only to reinforce the mild and benevolent precepts of the gospel of Jesus, it was also to ensure that we had the best possibly informed public. There's always that period of time during divine services for public official announcements to be read aloud to the congregations. So even those who cannot read, even those who live in the far distant reaches of the frontier, would be constantly apprised of those events taking place in government that daily affected their lives. Thus, in this way, you can see that church and state have always been inseparably joined. Furthermore, having the state church required that all heads of household had to pay an annual tax which would support the local Church of England parish and that one church alone. Those monies being applied to the salary of the established clergyman and also to the care of the poor and the needy within that particular community. Always the function of religion, never of government. That's all we ever knew. And frankly, friends, I would have to submit to you that that served us very well indeed for the first 140 years of our existence as a British colony. Because for those first 140 years, everyone in Virginia was Episcopalian. We're not any longer. In these last 30, 40 years, we have seen a tremendous influx of those who dissented from the church. Presbyterians in vast numbers, Baptists, German Lutherans, Quaker men, and Mennonites descending the Valley Road from Pennsylvania, settling into our western reaches there in the Shenandoah. There's still more German spoken in the Shenandoah Valley than there is that of the King's English. Moravians, Dunkards, Swedenborgians, Methodists. And so long as these Protestant Christians followed rather strict guidelines that were set forth by law, they were tolerated to worship as they chose to do. We understand that religious toleration is not the same as religious liberty. And so that question was solved in June of 1776 when we ratified our Virginia Declaration of Rights with Article number 16, which reads as follows: that religion, or the duty which we owe our Creator, and the manner of discharging it can be directed only by reason and conviction, not by force or violence, and that therefore all men are equally entitled to the free exercise of religion according to the dictates of conscience. And, it continues, that it is the mutual duty of all to practice Christian forbearance, love, and charity towards each other. We clearly could no longer have the Church of England as our state church any longer, being an independent nation and George III being the head of that particular church. And furthermore, we wanted to make it possible for dissenters to be able to worship as they chose to do. We now have religious liberty. Perhaps the first time in the history of man that we in the Fifth Convention determined that how one worships one's Creator is not a privilege extended by governments, it is a natural, inherent right. Along with this establishing ourselves from the Church of England, we also determined that we were going to devote all of our scanty resources